Edson Oliveira here for DNNHero.com. I have with me, as usual, Scott Wilson. Scott, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, so we have a lot to cover today, and I hope that I can keep us in line with our agenda here. So let's start with the newest release of DNN. That was done just back in August 14th, and that's DNN 732. A great thing that I see on that release is that they finally addressed the spamming problem that was happening on the registrations in DNN in general. So again, great that they have finally addressed that, and some minor stuff that they have addressed as well, also improving the captcha logic there. So I'm hoping that what they have done there is that really have addressed that spam problem that was happening for a while now. So I think that's a big one with that release. Have you had any experience with 732? I guess not. I mean, too early.
I think I have noticed that in the new Evoke Social, the equivalent one there, that what you did your video on that control equal register is no longer
available.
Available, I believe so. It seemed to me like on a newer version that I was doing for a client, I checked that and it was like, oh, okay, it didn't seem like that's, yeah. So I think that was a big part of it, right? That you could bypass whatever custom registration you had and go right to the default registration, which may not have even configured with CAPTCHA or anything else.
Got it. Very true, very true. So great that, again, that's the first one. One thing that we have done on DNNHero.com is I have upgraded to 732, and some of you may have experienced a little bit of some sort of email problems there with the forums. The thing with DNN 7, I'm not sure exactly which version of DNN 7 had that change, but the SMTP password that is the one used to send emails. Mm-hmm. It used to be plain text, and it was changed at some point in DNN 7. It was changed to be encrypted, so some modules may fail to send emails out. So if you see that happening on any one of your modules, touch base with the seller, touch base with the vendor, and maybe they are using some old APIs that are trying to get the plain passwords from the database, so now it is encrypted. So again, we had some problems with emails. I think that things are sorted out right now on our forum, but let me know if you're still having any email problems with our forum. Now, here's a good link that I have found, just again by researching our topics for the month. I found this link, this page on DNN's website called Security Center. So this page, actually you can select in a drop-down which version of DNN you have, and you can see the list of security problems on that release, on that version. So again, it's quite interesting to see. I mean, go there, have a look at what your release is, and then you can see which security problems affect your version. The link will be posted on the video post as usual, but again, a very nice link that I found there, and they keep track of security problems with each version of DNN. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the ecosystem and the changes that are happening or already happened on DNN Corp. So I'm going to start with let's go to the big one already, because I think that encapsulates a lot and it will help us unfold this. So Sean Walker's gone. This is no longer news. I mean, this happened pretty much about a month ago. And now again, he went on to his own stuff. Reasons why he did that, we will never know, but it's not relevant. The point is that he's gone, and now we have Joe Brickman being the community manager, and again, he's bringing a lot of new initiatives, interesting initiatives for the community. Again, just in the last few weeks, and Charles Nurse is now the chief architect. So again, that used to be a very clear role that belonged to Sean, and now Charles Nurse is the guy that will be leading the technology as a chief architect. I think that you had some things there to mention about well, let me step back here for a second. So again, those were the big changes. Now I want to talk a little bit about the community changes that Joe is bringing forward. So what he did just recently, he started 4 new working groups. That's how they're calling it. And let me bring a page here that will talk a little bit about that. So he has started 4 different groups. One is called Architect Group, led by Charles Nurse, who is the new chief architect. The other one is the Website Group, which is led by Peter Taminga. This website group is more about the community aspects of the DNN the DNN software website. Mm-hmm. The third group is about localization and internationalization.
Yeah.
And that's led by Peter Donker.
Okay.
So again, that's all about, how to, make sure that things will work well on other languages and on multiple languages at the same time.
Right.
And the fourth group is the training group, which will take care of things like events, like the
DNN Con?
The DNN Con
okay.
as well.
Oh, so that's going to be they're going to be the group kind of handling kind of the outreach type things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that group is led by Will Stroh. Will is no longer part of DNN, but again, those groups. What is interesting is that those groups, they have a mix of internal personnel of DNN Corp plus community members. So again, they are bringing more and more, closer the community and the corporation. That's funny to see that after the announcement of Sean's leaving, some people drop some emails, some community members and say, oh, what is well, this means that DNN will no longer be open source. It's funny that any change that happens, mm-hmm. the first reaction of people is, oh, does it mean that it's no longer open source? Will mm-hmm. that change? And actually, I think that the opposite is happening here, because I see, again, with those initiatives, that DNN Corp is trying more and more to get closer and closer to the community, So, mm-hmm. again, great initiatives that I think that are being brought by Joe Brickman. Now, from the architect point of view, with Charles Nurse, he is the one leading the Project Maverick, which is an initiative. Well, let me stop right here. Scott, what is Project Maverick and what is the status of that? What can you tell us?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to report on it almost like just the facts of the news stories here. I think it was in August, there was a blog written by Daniel Mettler, and the title of it was "The Future of DNN Speaks Razor, You Have to Migrate Now." And I read that and I was a little confused, but it was basically about migrating to Razor from a module perspective. DNN, as you know, has had a Razor inside of a web form control integration for a few years now, and we've done several, at least 3 or 4, I think, videos, tutorials on doing Razor modules. But Razor is just part of the architecture change that's coming on the horizon here. Daniel also mentioned in that blog that, quote, Microsoft is officially phasing out ASP.NET web forms and web controls. So
that's big.
That was a bit of there was a few comments on that. What he's referring to when we say it's phasing out, it's not that that you're going to start seeing a major shift from web forms to MVC. But what he's referring to is Project K, and what that is a working name of the recently announced ASP.NET vNext, which will only support, and this is Microsoft, not DNN, Microsoft, which will only support ASP.NET MVC, Web API, and SignalR, but no web forms. So it's a new project that's the new version of ASP.NET, which is still in the future, and they're only talking about moving forward with MVC. Web forms will still be supported, but it'll still be used very widely for the next coming years. But, yeah, there is a shift from Microsoft. So just so everyone understands, MVC and Project K, I mentioned what Project K is, but MVC, if you're not familiar, again, MVC and web forms are both server-side composition frameworks. We talked about this before when we talked about, mentioned Sean's blog that was a few years old, where he says, we don't need to worry too much about it, the MVC push, because both of those are server composition frameworks, and the future of what we see in the web is client composition frameworks. I did that video on client-centric module development, where we're heavily using client frameworks like Knockout, Angular, and things like that, talking to web API services and building a highly, a very quick and sleek front end. But nevertheless, we're talking about CMS and SEO. And you need the data, you need the web page to be built on the server side in order for Google to crawl it. So there still is an importance on SEO, which is why I think Sean acknowledged that not too long ago, and they started this Maverick project. But MVC is a server composition framework, and it is very different from web forms. So there was another blog, after Sean left, like you mentioned, and Charles Nurse took his seat in the architecture, he wrote a blog recently to try to give us an update on where Maverick is going. And that was the first time, because I remember we mentioned last time, I was like, I don't know what they're going to do with this MVC. Because honestly, I know how to do MVC, but I don't know how to do both. So we got a little glimpse into what Charles is thinking with. He actually even provided some diagrams in this blog, and we'll put this link up. But the first thing he talks about is using a Razor view, and by the way, Razor is only part of MVC. So just saying we need to move on to Razor is not enough. You need to learn a lot more than that. But using a Razor view as a skin and then composing that skin of other Razor views kind of tells you how you can build a CMS on MVC. It's not too hard. I mean, other systems have done it, Umbraco and other .NET CMSs. So the problem we have is, how do you do that without breaking all the years of community that we have?
Isn't it?
Yeah, building skins and modules on the web forms architecture. So the first approach he puts together is side-by-side page processing, where the core is URL routing, and you can go to a web forms or to an MVC, depending on the module, or I'm not really sure exactly of how you want to put together that website. Possibly it's something you pick in the installation, whether you want the MVC version or web. I'm not quite sure of that. It's interesting, but again, I like simple architecture, and that seems a little complex to me. So the other one he talks about was hosting an MVC app or a module within a web form control. So almost like now where they're hosting the Razor view within a web control, hosting MVC apps that you're building in a web form control. Again, I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to disparage either of these concepts, because Charles Nurse is a really smart guy. But my feeling almost to this point is, maybe we should fork it, and there's an MVC, and that, everyone tries to move toward that. But I don't know. So I'm not gonna say my opinion either way. I'm just trying to. I'm more of a purist with regard to architecture, and I'd hate to muddle it up. But the last thing I'll mention on this is the community/learn/roadmap, and we can put this link up too. Where it talks about the new what's going to come out in 7.3.3, which is in October, 7.4, which is in November. That's going to be a major release of what they're calling enhancements in workflow. But 8.0, Q1 of 2015, major release, quote from them, MVC page and module support.
So that's Project Maverick coming to
Q1 2015. So think maybe April. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I guess we'll have more updates as I get them.
Looking forward to see that one happening. And yeah, so we're gonna post the links to those places All
Yeah.
of them you guys gonna be seeing here. Okay, perfect. So great updates, Scott. Thank you very much for the project. And again, I'll be probing you every month about the Project Maverick. You know how things are moving along. And again, I know that Charles Nurse will be keeping us posted on that. But let's keep moving here so we get this done. Okay, so let's go back here to those 4 community groups that were created. One of those again is what they call the training group. And this training group has a new initiative called the DNN Hangouts. And the first, let's call it, episode of DNN Hangout happened about a week ago. And it had Will Stroll, Joe Brickman, and Peter... Peter Dunker, exactly. And Peter Dunker was the one doing the educational side of it, which he spoke about the DNN blog, which is the blog that he is the lead there. So again, great initiative. Every month, beginning of every month, you're gonna have a new hangout. I think that community members can join and ask questions. No, actually, I'm sure community members can join the page, ask questions during the show, and it's usually a show that will run for about an hour. So there will be another one this coming October, and another one November, another one December. October will be with Trace Whitkeller.
Whittenkeller, yeah, right.
He will be talking about skins. November will be with Daniel. What is the name? His name from
is that Metler?
Yes,
Daniel Metler. Okay,
he will be talking about the administration. And in December, your true. I mean myself.
Yeah.
I'll be talking about something there. We're still coming up with the topic, but again, a great place for us, for the community to ask questions directly to those guys. You know, you have Joe Brickman there. I mean, who is the one of the big shots there. So again, we have the opportunity to talk to those guys, and great initiative. Links are there as well. What else? So that's the DNN Hangout. Invite everyone to be there. Now, let me go here to, by the way, before I jump, let me step back here. So there is a new page called Events on the DNN website, and you're going to be able to see all the major events that will be happening in the coming months. I think that they are hoping to put community events like local DNN user group meetings.
User groups,
so I'm going to post a link to that events page as well. So that's the events page. Now, let me mention about an event that just happened this past week, and I was present to this event. It was a DNN store meeting led by Beth Fireball and Will Morganweg. We have spoken, they have spoken about various different things on the DNN store. But 2 things that I want to bring to your attention, which they asked for the community feedback. One is a minor one, but I think it's a very relevant question. They were asking if whether or not we should change, or they should change, the terminology from skin to theme. So again, they were asking opinions. I mean, people in the meeting, they were very favorable to the change, because if we look at CMS out there, you're gonna see that most of them use the terminology theme. So when you talk to someone that is, that knows a little bit about the web, and if you ask them what is a skin and what is a theme, they usually have a very good understanding of what theme is, but skin is not that friendly.
Right, so, probably because of WordPress.
Exactly. I mean, if we go to the major one, to the major three, WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, they use the theme terminology. So again, should they change? Should the DNN Corp change the terminology? Well, my humble opinion is that yes, maybe people will not find this that relevant, but I think that from an acceptance point of view, I think that's a good move. Not a huge one, but a good move. Worth taking the shots. I want to ask your opinion in a second, Scott. But so that's the first point that they were talking about. The second point is about what they will most likely be going towards is they will give some sort of a badge for modules and skins that are built by good sellers what do I mean by good sellers? By good sellers, I mean that are sellers that will not disappear on people all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that they are having problems with their commercial clients, with their commercial Evoke clients, because some of the sellers, you see, some clients, they buy modules, they buy skins, but what happens if the seller disappears? Which happens, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, here and there, you see some of those vendors, they just disappear, you know? So they are considering having some sort of a badge that will stamp, and again, that will be based on very clear and open criteria for a module or a skin to have that badge of approval, you know? So again, they asked the opinion from the community as well. So if you have any opinions, either on the themes versus skins or on the, you know, Evoke preferred extensions, send them a note. I mean, I think that, I don't have it easily here, but I'll post. Send a note to Will's email or Beth's email. I'm sure that they'll be counting on those feedbacks. So I send mine for sure. So themes, skins, Scott, what do you think?
I don't know. I could go either way. Yeah.
Okay, good enough. Again, I'm all about making sure that people have an easier time understanding DNN. Mm-hmm. And if that means that themes will give this 0.01% more towards that goal, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so again, another great community initiative, DNN store meetings. I don't know if they will be doing that frequently, but again, they are really listening to what we have to tell them. Let me see what else we have here in our agenda. I think that we are ready to go for our pick of the month. Pick of the month from a skin point of view, from a module point of view. I do have both of them, and I'll give it to you in a second, Scott. So for a skin pick of the month, my skin pick of the month is very straightforward. I just did a huge demo on a skin from DNNGo.net. It was one of the longest videos that I have ever recorded. I think that in total it's about an hour long.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, the reason why I went that far is not because it's that complex, it's just because I wanted to cover the content setup aspect of this skin. But as I said, this is my pick of the month. I'll post a link to the tutorial. This is the same vendor that I picked last month. I'm picking them again because it is a great skin with a lot of short codes. Now, let me ask you this, Scott. Do you know what a short code is?
I don't know if I do. Is
okay.
It just, yeah.
Perfect.
Educate.
I caught you. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, actually, this is a terminology that I have seen more and more skin builders using. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing more, nothing less than a short HTML code. It's a code snippet that will do things like, oh, you know what? I want to have a nice icon here. So here's a little short code that you can copy and paste on your website. Oh, I want to do an accordion type of control. So you can copy the short code, you can paste on your site using our skin, and then you're going to have a nice accordion there. So short codes are nothing more, nothing else, nothing less than small HTML code pieces that you copy and paste on your site. Okay. So each skin will have, usually, that's what I'm seeing across multiple skins, including my pick of the month. So each skin has a set of short codes. And because most of these skins right now, if I can say 100% of the skins right now are bootstrap based, so they all offer some sort of a short code for different features out there. You know, it ranges from user testimonials to image galleries, things that we see on the demo that may look like a module, they are actually short codes. So again, this is what a short code is, and this skin has a ton of nice looking short codes. Again, and the name, I'll not even say the name because again, 045. That's their code. So link will be here, and you guys can see it. So that's my skin pick of the month. Skin pick of the month from your sides, Scott.
Well, this past Wednesday, we had a Chicago DNN user group meeting, and the way we've been doing it lately is as a pretty much like a podcast. So we get together on a GoToMeeting, we record it, and then we put the recordings out on the internet for people to look at. And we had Tracy Wittenkeller from T-Works visit, and he presented a new skin, and this is we'll provide the link to it. This is so new, it's not even released yet. So we're that cutting edge here at DNN Hero and at Chicago DNN. I'll provide the video to Tracy Wittenkeller's demonstration, and we'll get the link to the pre-release of the skin. And yeah, what he showed us was exactly that. It's called Aquae. Aquae, Aquae. I don't know. Really nice looking, very modern, parallax. And I guess I know what short codes are. I just didn't know what to name them. But
I know.
They give a lot of examples, because the problem with parallax stuff is it's very difficult to make it into a skin because it's very context dependent on how you want to use it. And so their solution for that was to create these snippets of HTML, or even class names, special class names, or special data attributes in the HTML elements that will invoke pre-built scripting events, anything from variable font sizing to parallax animation speeds and ordering in the effects. And you do this by way of, not by complex like module settings and all this stuff, but by way of reading some documentation and pasting into the HTML modules these, like you said, these short codes or these snippets. So I thought that was pretty cool, pretty novel, but apparently it's something that skin developers are doing, which I like. So yeah, we'll provide that link.
Very good, very good. I do have my module pick of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to briefly mention about this. This is called Advanced Biz Map. And why I picked that one is just because I did implementation on a client's website just this past few weeks. And this module, it's nothing more, nothing less than a wrapper of Google Maps API. So it has a huge set of settings, and you can plot this map with a whole bunch of locations on it. One of the nice things on it is that, in my case, my map had 600 dots on it, 600 locations. So if you zoom it out to see Canada or Ontario in our case here, you wouldn't be able to identify all those different points. So here's a nice thing that this module, again, that is just wrapping Google Maps, helps you to do. It helps you to aggregate those points and create major points that says 26, 30. It means that on that spot, if you zoom in, you're going to be able to find 30 locations.
It's called marker clustering.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've actually have a module that does that. It's just not publicly available.
Make it available, man.
I know. I should.
Share the love.
I know. I should.
So that's my pick of the month. Now, to be honest, this module has a one bug or two here and there, but I was able to set up properly, and I think that at some point I may even run a video on that module. But again, it did the job, And again, I'm talking about a map with 600 points on it. So great map module. That's my pick. I'm not sure if you have a pick for a module.
Maybe I'll plug. I do have a pick. It's my own. I just released, most DNN Hero subscribers don't know yet that I have my own template. I use a lot the Chris Hammond template just because it is the most common one, and it's a good starter one. But I have a more advanced one that's for, I call it enterprise development. And so I'll start to be doing some more topics on that. The reason I had to revamp mine is because I hadn't touched it in over a year. And I realized that, it needs new dependencies and a little bit of an update. So I just did that. We'll have the link up, but it's called the Enterprise DNN module template. It uses the MVP pattern for developing and includes unit testing. So that's kind of the things we're going to talk about. So I'll start using my template going forward in some of these enterprise module development and unit testing tutorials.
Perfect. Okay, so you guys have our picks of the month. Now we're coming to an end here. I just want to mention that I'll be interviewing this coming week Kelly Ford from DNN Dev. They are the makers of Xmod. Xmod is a fantastic module that is running on the DNN ecosystem for many years.
Right.
So yeah. I'll be talking to this guy. I think it will be next Friday, the 19th. If you guys, if anyone from the community has any question that you'd like me to ask Kelly, please send them in, and it will be my pleasure to add that. But again, this is for the series of interviews that I'm doing with DNN vendors, DNN sellers, for the DNN store. So that's the next one with Kelly Ford about Xmods. Now, to finalize, I just want to briefly talk about what's coming up next on DNN Hero. From my point of view, from my side, I'll go back to the short code thing, and I'll go back to the Too Sexy Content module. Here's the thing with short codes for skins. It's great because it's a small HTML snippet and you can put on a page and it works. But just imagine that you have to give this to your marketing team or to the end user. Can you imagine the end user copying a piece of HTML and not messing it up when they are pasting and when they are changing? I mean, that's hard. I mean, that's asking too much from a...
They'll paste into the design view.
Exactly. So can you see the kind of mess that this can create? So I'm going to, leverage the fact that now we know what shortcodes are. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to leverage the Too Sexy Content module to build modules that will allow us, with very little effort, to set up those shortcodes. But as that, this is the video. You're going to get more information after I publish them, but I think it will be a nice topic to cover. Scott, do you have anything planned from your side?
No, like I said, I think the next thing's going to be probably something with unit testing in my next video with my new template.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So we are over half an hour. This will be the longest one, I think. And I think that it's time to go. Any last words, Scott? I mean, anything else?
I think that's it. We'll see you next month.
That's it for now. For me as well. See you next month, guys. Bye.
Bye.